Good evening from the newsroom. The news for this Thursday, 22nd of June. 16 families have received the keys to their house during the official opening of the first phase of Villas Bassin, a housing project at Unionville. The first phase of Villas Bassin comprises a total of 24 housing units costing the government over 30 million rupees. President Wavell Ramkalawan and the Minister for Land and Housing, Billy Rangasamy, unveiled a plaque to commemorate the opening of this housing estate. Work on Villas Bassin started in 2017. However, the project encountered delays such as terrain constraints and sitting tenants, resulting in the work being divided into phases. Work for the second phase is scheduled to begin in 2024. The National Assembly has voted against a motion asking the government to put in place a mechanism to enable 8 categories of workers to retire at the age of 60 with their full pension benefits. The motion was tabled yesterday by the proportionate MNA for the US, Wallace Cosgrove. All the 7 US members present voted in favour of the motion. They said that the motion would allow the said workers to enjoy the retirement in dignity. The 22 LDS MNAs voted against the motion. They argued that at present the payment of pension benefits was not sustainable. Air Seychelles has just opened a new office in Sri Lanka following the launch of their new air route between Mahé and Colombo. Sri Lankan customers can now purchase their air tickets directly at the new office. Dougie Douglas, the manager of the office in Colombo, says that it provides travellers with a local point of contact to book, modify or buy their air tickets. 5 people will be working in this new office. Since June 20th, Air Seychelles started its new service between Sri Lanka and Seychelles, with flights operating twice a week on Tuesdays and Sundays.
In my opinion, there's no substitute for having the human contact. Having an office you can come into, you're made to feel welcome, where we can discuss what's available, the prices, what you can get. It's the human touch. And although, like I say, in a lot of places around the world, offices are being closed and a lot of airlines are closing offices, I think it's actually very nice to have an office which can make people feel welcome before they even get to the airport. We believe that there's going to be a lot of visitors from the Seychelles to Sri Lanka for a number of reasons, for wildlife tourism, for culinary, for cultural, for history, and for medical and wellness. And Sri Lanka, of course, is well known for the wellness, the Ayurveda, yoga and so on. So we see a lot of potential demand in that. Visitors who come here, they might need help with changing a booking, they might need help with just sorting out a return flight, and that's what we're here for. We're here to help.
Solar panels, electric cars and scooters, organic foods and beverages, diving suits, clothing and accessories, as well as cosmetic products, amongst others, are on display at the Savoy Resort and Spa for the first ever Sustainability Expo 2023. The 2 days salon, which is hosting some 25 stands for local businesses and NGOs which produce sustainable products and services, as well as bio and organic ones, is an initiative of 2 local NGOs. They are Oceanica, which is actively involved in coral and ocean protection, and Tropical Store, a leading specialist in sustainable products in Seychelles. The Expo was launched by the designated minister, Jean-François Ferrari, who is also responsible for fisheries and the blue economy. Minister Ferrari has commended the private sector for such an initiative, which is normally spearheaded by the government. Cabinet has authorized for the drafting of a new data protection bill that will protect personal information. In its weekly meeting yesterday, the Ministry of Finance also briefed the Cabinet on the country's fiscal performance for the first quarter of this year, which was better than what was budgeted. The country's external and domestic debts have reduced to 17.8 billion rupees from 18 billion rupees in the last quarter of last year. The information was given by Vice President Ahmed Afif while briefing the press about the outcome of the cabinet meeting. Mr. Afif said the reduction in debt is partly due to a drop in exchange rate and growth in GDP, even if slightly. He said that the country is on the right track to reduce its debt below 50% in the near future. Mr. Afif also said that there has been achievement in other aspects of the country's fiscal performance during the first quarter of 2023.
We're pleased to report that we have performed in the first quarter better than was budgeted. So the revenue was slightly below target, but the expenditure was also below target. So finally, we ended up with a primary surplus of 150 million rupees as compared to a deficit of 526 million rupees. So overall, the primary surplus was 0.5% of GDP instead of minus 1.7%. One of the decisions taken by the cabinet was to propose a data protection bill 2023 to the National Assembly for enactment. This comes 20 years after the first Data Protection Act 2003 was introduced but never enforced. And essentially what government has done is taken the old act and modernized it to take into account a lot of the evolution that has happened 20 years ago. And it really covers two areas. One is the obligations on people who hold personal data. And that's both in the public service and in the private sector. It puts obligations on them on how to store data, how to ensure there's a very clear audit trail, how data is stored, how they share it with other third parties. And at the same time, it provides the rights to people whose data is being held by different entities. They have the right to know what's being held, they have the right to inspect what's being held, they have the right to correct any information if it's wrong, and they have the right to know how the information is shared with anyone. So we believe that this is a modern way in a government that believes in transparency and believes in the rights of individuals, that they must have that right to know what information is held about them.
Tomorrow, the 23rd of June, is Public Service Day, and the Ombudsman, Nicole Thiron-Gerardi, and the leader of the United Socialist Party have sent a message for this occasion.
Mrs. Thiron-Gerardi says that public officers are neither judges nor politicians. They are not constrained by political commitments or by judicial considerations or legal rules. They are duty-bound to carry out their work and deliver their public services in an open, transparent, fair and accountable manner. They are required to remain customer-focused and act fairly and proportionally in dealing with the demands and expectations of the citizens they serve. She says that they are expected, should things go wrong in their service delivery, to put right those things as quickly and effectively as possible. Mrs. Thiron-Gerardi says that in her work as an administrative watchdog of the public service, she continues to push for a fair, open, accountable and effective public service that will promote a transparent and accountable public service delivery, firmly based on the foundation stones of good governance. Her wish, she says, is that one day the success of this task will be measured by a National Public Service Award that could be bestowed on deserving public officers who have risen above the line of duty to contribute to the cause of enhancing the role, prestige and visibility of public service. In his message, the leader of the United Seychelles, Dr. Patrick Emini, says that holding a position in public service should be one of pride and commitment to serve those in need and provide the necessary support to other public servants in the common interests of our society. He says that our younger generation should aspire to work as public servants and should receive all the encouragement for a successful and fruitful career in public service without fear of prejudice or political interference. Dr. Emini ends his message by saying that United Seychelles thus encourages public servants to be empowered to responsibly embrace change in service delivery for Seychelles and its people to thrive.
And with this, we end this news summary. We'll be back at 8 with the news in Creole. Thank you for watching. Have a very pleasant evening.